Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. First I wanted to show you what the garden looked like last year. Let's zoom in, get the real potential that we saw in this garden. Okay, so this is what we had. We had no fence, had nothing but this. And the only thing we've put on this garden is 10-10-10. We've put some blood meal. We've put some hay, some diatomaceous earth, and a little bit of ash. And this is what we have this year. Now, the only place that we had weeds was around the edge, where there is no hay. There were a couple weeds inside the hay, but that was it. The trick to using hay is to get a good grade of hay and lay it thick. And we have not had any issue with weeds where the hay is, only where there is no hay. So I know that a lot of you think that our ground is real bad, but I'll tell you what, for what we've put on it, a year later, to have the kind of output that we're getting on an IBC tank, I think is just pretty darn good. So let's go dig up some potatoes, and I'll show you what the soil looks like. Okay, I picked a pretty decent spot. This is outside the garden. Alright, that's what we have. And that's only a couple inches down because it's really, really hard to dig. Alright. Now, you saw how hard that was for me to dig into. Now, let's show you, I don't want to trip in a hole, what it looks like in the garden. Okay, I pulled back the hay, and that looks pretty darn good. Watch this. One hand. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. You see all the hay mixed into it. Just beautiful. See how far I'm able to go? Just with one-handed. Is that a potato? Let's see. It's either a potato or a rock. Look at that. It's a potato. And look at that dirt. It's a little wet. That's why I pulled the hay back. Like I said, we weren't expecting all the rain we got. And since this is also unattended watering, we weren't expecting to have our water system also running. So that's what happened to my potatoes. And so I pulled the hay back on all of them. Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Well, I'm out at the retreat garden. Some things surprised me, and some things disappointed me. Surprised me that we're still getting a great asparagus harvest. I cut off about a dozen. And so we're going to have asparagus. And it looks like some of them didn't come up, but most did. Pretty pleased. Strawberries, looking good. Pulled off the flowers on them. I've got a weed out here, but they seem to like it. Garlic looks like it's starting to bulb now. This is butternut squash, I believe, is what I planted here. Or spaghetti squash, one of the two. We'll find out soon enough. We're just getting flowers on it now. So it's doing really good. What disappointed me was my potatoes. We've had tons of rain. Potatoes were overwatered. So they started shriveling up. But something interesting, you know, people always wonder if you can grow potatoes in hay. I'm going to sacrifice it, of course, because I've got to pull the hay away to save the plant. But there you go. Little bitty potato that was growing in the hay. So, not too shabby. But it's extremely wet. So I pulled the hay back to let the plants dry. We did lose, I think, 4 plants completely. There's one. Complete loss. But the rest of them still have green stalks. And then we lost those 3 down there. And these are the potatoes I harvested from them. Not a whole lot, but not bad for them dying. We've got about, I think 50 tomatoes. None red yet. But some of them, these don't have any tomatoes on them. They're just getting ready to blossom. But they're doing really good. And then this is the other squash. It's a little slower to grow. And still don't see any stevia. I think it's down in that bed, right next to that squash. But I still don't see any coming up. And then the tomatoes. Some of them are loaded down really well. And others aren't. Some of them are small. Green peppers. Started to lose one plant. It had a green pepper on it, so I plucked the green pepper off so it can try to recover. Once again, pulled the hay away from the plant because they are definitely too wet. And here's the surprise of my life. Tobacco plant. That is only a foot high, and each leaf is over a foot. Didn't get as many as I hoped, but I think I got 9 plants here, and this is the best one of the bunch. It likes it dry. This is the driest end of the garden, so keep that in mind. It does good with dry, not with wet, but not real dry. So there you go. See if we can back up here. Show you the garden. Very pleased. Got lots of room to plant something else if I choose to do it. But, of course, I'm not. And yes, for those of you that want to know, the electric fence does work. Thought I had it off. Someone told me it was off. It wasn't off. It works real well. Give you a nice little zap. So, there you have it. Hay settled down nicely. Most of the plants are appreciating it. A few, like the potatoes. I think tomatoes would have done, and peppers would have done better faster without the hay because it's been so wet. But we weren't anticipating as much rain as we got. So today I'm going to weed, and we're going to clear up that mess and cut down some of the dead oak trees. Pile it up because next weekend is the orchard going in. Before we eat them, I wanted to show you today's harvest. This is the asparagus we got, and it's end of season for asparagus. And this is the potatoes I was able to get, and a little green pepper I had to pull off that plant. Not great, but hey, it's something. It's better than last year for sure. Blessings. They're doing a surprise for me. I think they're putting up fencing. I'm not real sure. But my daughter's down there somewhere. Putting in a fence. I'm resting.